Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first chapter in the Central Recruitment Center of Lore and Information. Today we have a special episode because I will not be hosting the series that we want to implement. Because the idea is that the community gather and they decided to start a new series, and it's this one. The idea of this is that the community that you are a part of are having a lot of questions. They're having a lot of theories about a lot of stuff. So the idea is that you as a community can gather, have these questions, and post them so we can address them here in this kind of format. We want to keep it under 30 minutes. So the idea is to have two main topics. Today we're gonna speak about the timeline about Kickstarter that it's coming soon. We will dive deep in a little bit, and the lore timeline. But I'm not the host, so let me introduce to the community that it's here for us, gathering the questions and having a lot of information to speak about. Remember, everyone, you have the chat there. We have mods that are helping us driving up the questions. So if you have a specific one, just post it there so we can address it later on. Today, our host is, first of all, I'm going to start with the informant. A lot of you know him. He is the leader of Thunderstrike, of the house Thunderstrike. He's also the owner of a recruitment center. And he's also a really active member in the community. He have made lore videos. He's always helping people in the recruitment center, news, old ones and stuff. He's going to be one of the main hosts in this series. So, Informant, how's everything going?
Hello, glad to be here. Thank you so much for being willing to do this little community questionnaire.
Cool. Well, we also have General Loso. You know him from the last chapter and for a lot of stuff. He's the lead game designer, as you know, here at The Bone. And well, Oso and I are here just to answer questions. This is not our program. This is your program as a community. So, also, how's everything going?
Yeah, everything's going great, and let's see what doubts you have about the game, about the lore, and about the timeline going forward for the Bone.
Ooh. And at last but not least, we have a Canadian member. So just to let you know, I'm in Mexico City. The informant is in US, is also in Mexico, not in Mexico City. And Los is in Canada, international panel we have today. And Los has been, it's kind of a new member. I want to say a new member comparing like to the informant, but he has been really involved in the information brand. He is helping to gather tons of information to create the wiki. If you don't know, we have one, and it's being led by the informant and Los. And the informant and Los gathered to make this program, and they actually invited us to be in here. So we are really excited to be here, answer your questions. One rule that we have at the beginning is there's no filter. We will answer anything you ask, complete transparency, so feel free to do it. But for me to end and for you to start, Los, tell me how's everything going, and please start your own program.
Okay. Thank you very much for doing this with us. Everything's going pretty great here, and can't wait to get some more information on everything out there.
Well, the pleasure is mine, but starting from now, you are the hosts. We're just here to give the introduction, and this is your program. So let us know you want to start with the Kickstarter timeline, with the lore timeline. Just throw up the questions, and we're here for you.
I think we decided to start with the lore timeline, since that's kind of in the past, and then move up through to the Kickstarter, which is the present and on to the future. So one question that I have about the lore is like Rojo and Blanco. I'm sorry, that was terrible pronunciation.
Okay.
Rojo and Blanco. Like we saw the video of them talking about regathering the recruits But since then, we really haven't seen anything from them. So, like, what happened to them? Are they still involved? Are they okay? Did the invertebrates get them?
Yeah, can I take that one also?
Yeah, go.
Okay, yeah, so they're fine. Uh, but they are not going to be named like rojo and blanco, that it means red and white in Spanish, because the translation was that way. They're not going to be named that way anymore. So when the commission, there were commissioners, each of them had a code name. One of those is rojo, another is blanco. We have magenta, cyan, yellow, and stuff like that. So when all the attacks started and they said like, we're gonna resist, we're gonna start this recruitment center, we want to make this happen to the world, they also stopped being commissioners. But more important, the code names made no sense anymore, because the idea when the New World commissioner first started was like, I don't want to know you because it's dangerous. We're managing and treating with very powerful people in kind of like a superhero thing, that you don't want to know who I am because then I will be in danger more in my personal life. And so when all this happened, they just decided like to avoid those names. And I can tell you right now, there are in the community, there are like two humans that actually, you know them. I know them, but they will not reveal who they are because that's kind of dangerous. That's a story about red and white.
That makes
That makes
perfect
sense.
sense. Thank you.
All right. And I know that we talked about, it was just released not that long ago as one of the teasers about the Q ioms there. How exactly did those get discovered? How did those come to be, and what effects do they really have?
Yeah, I can take that question. Well, QIOMs or QIOMs, as you know, our researchers are in constant. Well, they are constantly looking for new information on universal particles and everything that the investigation can bring up to the table. So there have been tons of different efforts on continuing with this subject, and we have always known that there's some unstable stuff happening in the quantum realm, but the closer we look, the closer we analyze these clusters of universal particles, scientists began finding different patterns. These patterns of universal particles, they realized they had specific and they were similar between each other, and they kind of like mimicked what a biome in the real world is. So a biome is where you can find animals and plants that are similar in within the same biome. That's why they decided to call these things quantum biomes. Well, that's where the name QIOM comes from. So by applying more energy or more my white particle energy to these universal particle clusters, they found out that this was a way more efficient way to produce the elements that you can find while exploring in the real world, and this is the most efficient way to extract these elements from nature, from colors, and this is going to be now implemented in the AR with the AR technology we are using to help you gather elements faster in exploration. And one very important part of this aspect of the investigation of the research is that most of it was thanks to all the information we were able to gather during our tests with real recruits that had pre-alpha access to part of the exploration technology, and all this data was used to find these anomalies in the quantum world that gave us QIOMs, and you are going to be able to actually interact with them in the next app that we're going to release. We're attempting to release a demo by the new Kickstarter campaign. I don't know if you want to add something more.
Yeah, because I do not have a technical background. Also has one. A lot of people within the team has one, and I'm not scientist. And when they explained me how it worked with really simple words, I understood that everything will change and will continually keep changing in the future. It doesn't matter if it's an alpha or a beta or 5 years from now, things are going to change because new research that happens within the labs will make things better. And the way I understand this for everyone that is not really technical in this field is very simple. And I'm going to compare it with the atom. So a long time ago, well, not so long, but dozens of years ago, they thought the atom was the smallest thing in the world. And suddenly they were capable of making kind of a zoom, and then they found the electron and the quark. Well, within the labs of the CERN in Switzerland, they were playing with this particle accelerator, and suddenly they found the Higgs particle. There were tons and tons of articles about that, even a movie about the God's particle and stuff like that, but I don't want to go that way because it's science. They keep playing, and they realize there was another particle called the white particle, and they were like, oh my god, what is this? They made another zoom, and they find out 6 particles that now are called universal particles. If you're capable of controlling and manipulating, you can control matter. Now, that was a lab experiment, and the first technology they developed with the phone to explore the world, they realized the phone has the technology capability of extracting universal particles from the world. But that was it. There was no power archive, no combination, something was missing. The researchers keep making their experiments until they found something that are the combs. They improved the technology, and later on, not today, in other chapters, within Central Command and within the app, you will find out about that. But the idea is this is an improvement of the technology that changes everything, because alchemy is going to change the world, how we perceive it, how we interact with it within the app. It's completely different. And now you can actually find like the superpowers that are called power essence in the world thanks to this technology. Made sense? That's how not a technical guy explains it.
Very cool. It does make a lot of sense. All right, so let's do another lore question. So the commission, the New World Affairs Commission, which was started to control the information of universal particles. We know that Red and White kind of broke away from the commission, or the commission split into the invertebrates and what I've been calling the resistance in the server. But you've also mentioned somewhat recently that the commission still exists and is and that the recruitment centers are kind of to prove to the commission that this is the right choice and that the world does deserve the bone. Could you just kind of explain that a little bit more? Is the commission still around?
Yeah, it is. And it's pretty simple. The commission is just like an organization, it's like, I want to say like democracy. It exists. Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening down there, but the idea or the center exists. So the commission, when it started, it has the idea of regulating everything that happened. And so as a figure, it exists, but right now it's completely controlled. And, you have this political monetary interests of people that want this technology. It makes sense. If you can control matter, That's when it's splitted, because you can have the people that say, hey, that is us, this is you saying this technology should belong to humanity, and naturally you have the greedy people that are saying, hey, wait, I want this for me. Doesn't matter for what. It can be military applications, the business, medicine. It doesn't matter. It's the idea of controlling matter. And if you have that tech, you're bigger than anywhere else in the world. You will have much more money. And do not mistake these people within the commission. They're extremely powerful. And when I say extremely, it's like beyond our imagination what they are capable of doing. Also, I don't know if you want to add something there.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like at the early stages of the internet. Part of the funding came from a military background, or only universities and research centers had control over the internet, and later on the internet became this gift for humanity that can be used in good ways and in bad ways. So in a way, the internet belongs to the people. So in the same way, there are some today that might want to regulate the internet. That's the same thing that's happening with universal particles and everything. We are trying to put out to the world. So recruitment centers, the community Kickstarter campaign is a way for the world to say, we want this to belong to us. And I think that's like a good analogy to make.
Cool. Thank you. Yes, that does explain it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not only explaining, I mean, this is why we're doing this. We need to spread the word as a community. If not, the bone will vanish, and we will not see it. And I'm for real. I'm not like, yeah, this is part. No. This has two options. It could exist, or it could not. The technology is there. We have everything we need to make it happen. But if we are not capable as a community to give it to the people, then they will win. The invertebrates, they will win. They will keep it. We'll shut it down, and game over.
Yeah, it will vanish for us, but the technology exists, as you said, and who knows what it will be used for if the people do not have access to it.
Exactly.
On that note, before we move too far away from it, I'm curious because you keep using the commission separate from the invertebrates. So do we still have allies on the commission, people who would want it to go out there and didn't split off like White and Red did, or?
Not really. So right now it's controlled by a few people, but we also know that few people, those people that are controlling it right now, they kind of report to someone. They have chiefs. They are not like the maximum authority. But right now we do not have the power to even know who are bigger than them. So the commission is controlled by them, but we believe that if we spread the word, there will be no option. They will not be able to shut it down. After that, we can go back to the commission and take control. And when I say take control, I don't mean like in coercive way, like fighting, just like more like a political way, when we say we are a lot of people, we have this, it's time to take control of the commission and change the rules. So take these people and get them out, and they will have no option.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah
once the snowball is big enough, there's no way on stopping it. That's like our way on seeing this subject.
Exactly.
Yeah, and speaking of trying to get it out there as much as possible, you released a new Kickstarter update today, and you've stated that it will be coming back June 1st, which is really cool. Could you just kind of take us through the timeline of that? What the new timeline is going to look like?
Sure. So I'm prepared for that because I knew this was going to come. So I'm gonna to explain everyone. The idea is to relaunch on June 1st and end the campaign on June 29th. Consider these days are we want to respect them, but we're waiting for Kickstarter approvals and some kind of paperwork. But if everything goes as planned, we should launch in less than 3 weeks. So what's going to happen? I'm not going to dive in the Kickstarter campaign because I think there will be questions about that. I just want to talk about the timeline, like before the Kickstarter, what it's going to happen. So immediately after we just 1 second. There you go. So immediately after we end the campaign, 2 things will happen. Everyone will receive the founders pack. Remember, these are the voting rights. We as a developer team, we don't like to take all the decisions. Sometimes the community prove us wrong. Well, a lot of times they have proved us wrong. So the idea of the founders pack is to give you like official votes to take decisions on how the bone is going to be developed. So the moment it ended, that will start. Also about the recruitment centers, we will start talking to them with a lot of plans we have for them, like monthly calls to understand how to create events, create branding, create esports team with really professional people. Just to let you know, probably, we have the ex regional manager of League of Legends giving a conference, probably Rolf Cousins, if you don't know who's that. Just a quick summary, he's now part of the team. He joined while we were in the previous campaign. He's an ex-international president of Activision, Call of Duty, stuff like that. He's also the ex-CEO of Jagex with RuneScape, and ex-CEO of Codemasters with a lot of titles, including franchise like Formula One and Lord of the Rings Online. So he's like a kingpin. He's a legend in the gaming industry. He's in the team now. That's cool. He will help us defeat invertebrates. So in the next quarter, July to September, everyone that bought the early access group 1 will have access to the app in a full state. What I mean in a full state? Well, as also told you, we will release a demo on the early days of the Kickstarter launch for you to try. This demo will start and end, meaning you will not have access to all the assets and stuff. It's just for you to try the mobile experience with exploring the world, kind of doing some sort of alchemy, have the combat simulator, and it will end. You will not have all the power archives and stuff. People in the early access, they will have the full experience. The difference is that the idea of the early access group 1 is to have the feedback, try new things, get your voting rights, tell us what is good, what is not, so we can change it. At the same time, we will start having recruitment centers in selected cities. What means is you will be able to test EPONs in real life. This is only reserved for people with the early access, naturally, because it's what you are getting in Kickstarter. And why I'm saying selected cities, because we don't have recruitment centers yet in all the cities around the world. So we will work together with the recruitment centers. As a reminder, today we have United States, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, Argentina, and Chile, and we're expanding. And we will go there with prototypes, not with the final product, but people with early access will have early access if you live nearby in the cities. If not, you are always welcome to travel. And we will try to get those cities with big events. So we have a lot of people maybe traveling, but well, we need to see it. After that, next October to December, you will receive the caster book, those who got it. We will join, the second group of the early access will join, and we will continue with the selected cities going bigger and bigger. Next year, early next year, with the recruitment centers, we will build all the perks. I don't want to dive in that. And the third and last group of early access in alpha will join us, and we will have the season 0 battle pass. The idea is that at this point we're about to launch, and we need to test the last things to make sure they're working. Now, the moment everyone is expecting the caster gear, we are planning to ship the caster gear. I want to say April. And let me be extremely clear with this, because transparency is everything. A lot of projects are out there in Kickstarter saying like, yeah, I will deliver in 3 months. And 3 months later, it's like, yeah, we're 1 year ahead of what we thought. And we don't want to do that. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that if we have right now $10 million in the bank account, we can make this process faster. We have the prototypes; they're working. Everything is there. But making hardware, it's complex, and we want to make sure you receive the perfect product, the product you paid for. So this is it's not an optimistic scenario. It's not like a crazy scenario. It's just something that we feel comfortable with. And we know a lot of people is saying outside, it's a lot of time, 1 year and stuff like that. We get it. That's why we're giving a lot of like better stuff if you pledge in Kickstarter. But we want to make sure you get the best product. And for that, we need to keep testing. We need to go and make a great manufacturer and do a lot of stuff that requires time. It's not about money. And let me be like extremely clear about this. You can have a lot of money. It doesn't matter. The timeline won't move, because in order to test this, you need to go outside and test it and go back and take notes and do it again. We have been working 3 years now, and we're pretty confident. So this release make us good, feel about good about the time delivery that we're comfortable with, and we're not lying or trying to be shady. Now, after that, the idea is to have an open beta. So at this moment, all the shipments are gone. All of you have your caster gear. All the recruitments are in place and ready to operate. And that month, let's say April, subject to change, we need to see that everything goes in plan, stuff like that. So the open beta will be this month, again, let's say April, where we open the bone to the world, and the recruitment centers in all the cities starts to work, and everyone can download the app and stuff like that. We know it's kind of a year, less than a year now, of all this process. But that's why we want to make you a part of this, to continue all this development, to be with us in all this development. So that's pretty much everything about the timeline and how it's going to work and how it's working. And last note, this is the exact same timeline we released before in the previous Kickstarter campaign. Because one thing is the Kickstarter release, commercial kind of release, and another thing is the game development that haven't stopped like ever. That's it.
Cool. Thank you very much for laying all that out for us. Lowe's, you have any questions?
For this part, for the Kickstarter specifically, you guys did awesome with answering most things that I had just in that explanation there. But I do have to ask about getting involved, if there's going to be other community events. Like I know in the past there was the original recruits had the archives they were trying to get into with puzzles there, things like that. Is there anything like that planned ahead? Ways to get involved like that?
Yeah, it's planned, but we think we need to take it to the next level, and that's the idea of the early access. We are gonna have quests and stuff for you to try. We have tons of ideas of making things in the real world, like quests in the real world, but instead of just being in a landing before everything is done, we believe right now we're in a position when we can actually deliver the experience through the app. That it's the idea. So yeah, we're planning things. So expecting the early access group 1 to have activities, not only like there's the app, play it, that's it. No, the experience starts.
Yeah, I think part of being in an early access group, in an alpha stage of an app, us as developers have pretty specific things we want to test. We are releasing in alpha because we think the app is not ready. So by doing so, we have specific things that we need the recruits to help us to test. So most of the missions or most of the community events are gonna take place inside the app, whether it is a small tournament to test some specific combat mechanics or a new power archive that we are laying out, or maybe a new section of the app that we haven't yet planned, but in via the voting rights, the community is requesting to have a certain aspect of the game be given more priority than the one it is at the moment. So most of those community things or events are gonna be focused on game development and on business development also in the recruitment center area. So I think, yeah, that those are the plans in that regard for the future.
Awesome, thank you.
I think I have just one more, and then there's kind of one question that I'm seeing in the chat. So if we have time for 2 more questions, would that be okay?
Yeah, of course.
Completely,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so you said early in the Kickstarter, or in the new Kickstarter campaign, you're going to be releasing a demo for the app. I assume that demo will need to be tested. And so will people be getting their hands on the demo ahead of the Kickstarter release? Is that an idea? I'm just thinking, how early will the recruits be getting their hands on stuff? Is that at the Kickstarter, or do the recruits get something in advance?
I think it's gonna be released at the same time for everyone. We're working like night turns and 24 hours right now to be able to get this demo on time. So the schedule is pretty tight already, and we don't want to add some extra tests on it. It's pretty much a light version of the app we previously had, with new sections and new stuff. The most ramped up section of the app is going to be the exploration. That's going to have some new features that have not been tested before, such as the appearance of the cubes. And so yeah, I wouldn't be confident saying that recruits are gonna be able to have to test it before. We might communicate that in the Discord if that's the case, if we need some extra hands to test stuff before we release the demo. But yeah, our goal is to have it by the first or the second week of June at most. That's
And the reasoning behind this explanation is that the app is going to be ready inside. When I say inside, it's like the main developers will send to the team the app, like saying tested like for the first time. That's planned like May 23rd. So then after that, but that it's an APK with a lot of permission and complicated stuff that it's not easy to install and stuff like that. So after that, we're going to put it in the stores, upload it, wait for iOS and Android to say, hey, yeah, your app is done. And depending also if they say it like really quick, because when you upload an app right now, you have this big thing saying, due to COVID, we're having late responses. It could take a week and stuff like that. So if we have it, we will give it. That's the point to the recruits before the Kickstarter.
Great. Sounds good. All right. I think.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Just a question. Just sorry. It just popped.
Yeah. So the one question that I noticed in the chat that someone put in a while ago, and also that but is, what are some of are there any big changes to the Kickstarter? I know that you said that there's going to be a different goal. Do you have a set idea of what that is, or are there any different rewards that that weren't at the first Kickstarter, or what are some plans that you can release to us today?
So first thing, I'm just gonna touch some points, and also please help me with the rewards and stuff. But yes, the Kickstarter goal is going to be much more or less. We're planning to launch with a 50K goal instead of 250. Actually, the last campaign we did roughly 90K. So this we will probably get funded in the first 24 hours, and that's pretty cool. And you might say, like, yeah, but how the heck you need now so much less money? Well, two things happen while the last Kickstarter campaign was going on. First, we have Ruth joining us in the Ramos PC family office. That means things change for us in a lot of terms, like revenue, bound accounts, projections, and stuff like that. And the second thing is that a lot of people start to coming to us as recruitment centers, like, hey, I want my recruitment center, I'm willing to pay like right now. When that happened, we didn't expect it, to be honest, but when that happened, all the strategy changed, because we don't need the exact same money we needed earlier, because a lot of things are going on for good. So when we were in the previous Kickstarter week 1, and we start having this conversation, kind of have a misfocus there, instead of continue with Kickstarter, we have a lot of things going out there, and we put the strategy and we said, like, wait, we don't need this anymore. It's not easier like to close it and understand the feedback, like, people needs to see gameplay. Let's give them a demo. Let's make central command and show them like actual work. Next chapter will be about EPONs and real life combat. You will see how people is playing. So with all that feedback, we said, like, makes more sense just to change it, because the goal makes no sense anymore. Breaks makes no sense anymore. We have tons of things to show you. So we thought it was best. And yeah, probably if all the existing backers pledge in the first 24 hours to receive the special backer loyalty thing, we will be funded in really quick. So this is our reality.
Very nice. Very nice.
I don't know if you want to add something there.
No, I think you answered that pretty well. Those are the extensively. Yeah, there's nothing more to add. We can go for a couple more questions. I'm also trying to read the chat.
To keep it under 40, because we're at 37, we took a lot of time for the intro. Let's take one more. In, do you think that's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, pick the one you consider.
I'm just looking at this. Arisa's question here. Can you reveal who some of the content creators you've talked to are? We know about Fuego. We know, or Fuerza. Sorry.
Fuerza. Yeah.
We know that he's been involved. You have a couple videos with him, and I know that you're planning another one, I believe. But could you talk about any other content creators that you know of that you're going to, or are those secret for now until the big reveals?
You know, yeah. The point here is I can talk about Fuerza because he's already like he's part of this community, but about the others, I'm not sure they're gonna be close. So I don't want to spoil it, but for two things. First, let's say I see a name, and then suddenly it doesn't happen. Like it, it's just not cool. It's better like the surprise. But I can tell you, we have some of them that are like in the millions of subscribers. They're big. Spanish, English, America, Europe, and it's pretty hard to convince them. If we talk to them, they are like I don't get it. I'm a mobile YouTuber. I'm an MMO, player. I'm a technology guy. So nothing fits exactly with any YouTuber. That's kind of a problem. Like, hey, well, look at this and let's give this and that. But what I can tell you is that last Sunday I sent a couple of these babies to Fuerza as prototypes, and he was like, just play. No, do your content, do whatever you want. Give us an honest view and tell us what we need to change, because we know it's really committed and we don't want flowers like, yeah, everything is perfect. It's like, yeah, this is alpha. It's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. What we actually want is someone telling us, hey, we should change this and that. So I believe he's going to create that content. I have no idea what he's gonna make, because the relationship we want to build with content creators is like very, how to say it, like,
Yeah,
you
not
have your
forcing.
own voice. Yeah, you have your own voice, your own opinion, and if we're talking, is because you're good at what you do. We don't want to tell you what to say, so use it, give us an honest opinion, and it's okay. And if the opinion is bad, it's okay, we can change it.
Yeah,
Well, it's good to hear that taking all the different reviews in and really working on what needs to be worked on, regardless.
Yeah.
Okay,
Whee!
cool. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it
Yeah, don't want to run it
for
on too long.
this episode. If this does become a series, which I think is the goal. Thank you, Mark and Oso, for coming out and for giving us this opportunity to ask some questions. Thanks for all the new information. It's been really nice getting to talk to you and just hearing the plans and the history and the future. So,
nice.
Yeah,
And I would
this-
like to say, if this does become a series, we were teasing with the idea of talking about early EPUM prototypes. So I don't know. We'll see how this first video goes, and we'll go on from there.
Well, thank you very much. Next time, I will not introduce anyone. We're not the host anymore, just to let you know. Well, I believe that. Thank you, everybody, and see you next time. Hope is next week.
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah. See you.